Welcome. Thanks for being here with me. We're going to start in a seat. As you arrive, take your eyes down, close them. Give yourself the first few moments in your seat and the first couple of breaths just to check in and notice how you're feeling. Perhaps this is the very first moment in your day where you've taken an opportunity just to check in and see how you're feeling, to create some stillness. So just notice what that feels like. And I want you to pay particular attention to your spine. I'm going to take you through a practice that really works on creating as much length in the spine as possible and a lot of power and strength in the back body. And the reason why we want to find and cultivate that strength in the back body, or that whole back chain from the back of the neck, through the back of the shoulders, through the lumbar spine, to be able to really lock in your latissimus dorsi and your lower traps to pull your shoulders down, to create space and openness through the heart center. And ultimately, we want that strength in that back chain of the body so that we can sit in meditation. So there's going to be a lot of effort in the back line of the body. At times it might feel a little bit challenging, and there's going to be a lot of invitation to take your arms above your head and really have your ears and your biceps connected. So if that's not available to you, I will invite you to take your hands to your hips and keep pulling in the back line of the body. So I want you now, as you're just concentrating on your breath and checking in and noticing the length in your spine, I want you to deliberately squeeze the shoulders back, even wing the elbows out and pull the elbows back behind you, like you're really deliberately and overstretching through the front of the body to squeeze the back of the body and really feel the power of the shoulder blades connecting towards the center of your spine. And then try and maintain that contraction. Your rhomboids, the muscles that line the inner edges of your shoulder blades, I want you to pull them in, switch them on, keep them there as you then soften the spine to just be in a neutral position. And notice if the shoulders start to round forward and you collapse through your heart space and you get really weak and long through the back of the shoulder blades. If that's happening, just take a moment to squeeze them back again. For many of us, we do a lot of seated work. We spend a lot of time with our phones in our hands. There's a lot of closing off and contracting through the heart space, which causes the muscles in the back of our body to get really long and weak. We want to open up, squeeze the back of the body, proud and open through the chest. But if you do that, just watch you don't lose your chin. Keep the chin gently tucked in. I want you now to imagine that I've got my hand on the crown of your head and I'm lifting the crown of your head up towards the ceiling to make you just that little bit taller. And notice with all of the effort in the spine and having integrity in the spine, if the body starts to fatigue, for us to have great access to this seamless and powerful flow of energy through our energy center, which runs through our spine, the spine needs to be long. For that to happen, we need strength in our core, in our belly, and in our back chain. Give yourself a big breath. And let all the breath go. Full breath in. And breath out. Inhale. Exhale. And for the next 5 breaths, as you breathe out, you're going to silently chant the mantra Om for the whole length of the out breath. So breathing in, and in the silence of your mind as you breathe out, carry the mantra Om the whole way out. Breath in. The mantra Om as you breathe out. We're going to use that silent mantra quite a lot in our practice. Give yourself a big full breath in. Cleansing breath out. And make your way into a downward facing dog. And give yourself 5 beautiful breaths here. Find stillness in the downward facing dog if you can. Lock into the length of the spine. So to do that, you'll likely need to bend your knees. Bend your knees deeply, send the sit bones up, pull the navel towards the spine. Your chest is reaching through the upper arms. Big breath in. Full breath out. Take your right leg to the sky on the next in-breath. Take a tiger curl foot between your hands as you breathe out. In-breath, hands to the sky, crescent lunge. Really work on bringing the biceps by the ears. So drop the back knee as low as you need to. Pull the back body back and squeeze and contract through the shoulders to bring the biceps back. If that's really challenging, you might need to take your hands wider to give your shoulders a little bit more space. If they're super tight or if you're nursing any shoulder injuries. Big breath in. Full breath out. Breath in. And downward facing dog, exhale. Left leg to the sky, in breath. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge. Drop the back knee as you breathe out. You're going to keep the knee just off the floor. Really using that dropped knee to find a neutral pelvis. So the spine is a little more in integrity. So the shoulders are easily stacked over the hips. Then you can really pull those biceps beside the ears. Just one more breath here. And the exhale will take you into downward facing dog. You're going to walk your hands back to your feet. Take your feet hip distance apart. Take a half lift. And forward fold as you breathe out. Half lift, take your hands just below your knees onto your shin. So you're going to have a flat back here. You will likely need bent knees to allow that to happen. Send your tailbone back, your sit bones back. So it's like you're trying to really stretch your butt away from the back of your knees, and you're keeping your spine flat. The chin is tucked in, so the back of the neck is long. Squeeze the shoulder tips back into the center of your spine, but don't lose your belly. So pull the belly in, so the whole torso is fired up. It's going to work into your hamstrings a little bit while we sustain ourselves in this half lift. On your next breath in, send your hands forward, biceps beside the ears. So you're staying in your flat back, you're reaching your hands forward, and then as you breathe out, take a forward fold. Keep your biceps beside the ears. So you're really wanting to lengthen the spine. I've got my fingertips plugged onto the floor. My thumbs are facing upwards. My ears are locked in between my biceps. I'm going to take a half lift and bring my arms with me this time. Inhale. Exhale, fold. So you're not losing the connection of biceps to ears. In breath, half lift. Your arms on your extension of your spine. Exhale, fold. Half lift, arms come with you. It's the back body doing the work. Exhale, fold. Nice work. We're going to come all the way up this time. Half lift and then push into the floor. Come all the way to Tadasana. And exhale, fold through exactly the same position. Keep your biceps by your ears. Release your hands. Take a half lift. Fingers to the floor. Walk out to a downward facing dog as you breathe out. Come to a plank as you breathe in. Drop your knees. Really push into the floor and dome through the shoulders. Drop the chin to the chest. Nice big stretch through the upper shoulders. And as you breathe out, release it. Come into a child's pose. Exhale. Walk your hands over to the left side of your mat. Plug your right hand over to the left side as much as you can. And really stretch from that right pinky finger all the way down to the right hip crease. Just stretching into the lateral aspect of the shoulder blade here. Stretching through your teres minor and teres major, these rotating muscles of the shoulder. And also through the lats and the traps. Come back to the center as you breathe in. Just lift the chest up a little bit. We're going to take the same hand, so the right hand, sweep it underneath the left. We're going to drop the right shoulder down to the floor, right temple or cheek to the floor as well. And you're really stretching those fingers as far away from you as possible to stretch into the back of the right shoulder. We're mostly working into strength, but we will stretch out and nourish the back line of the body as well. On your next breath in, come back to center. You're going to walk your hands over to the right side of your mat this time, plugging left hand over as far as you can go, stretching from left pinky all the way down to the left hip. You'll come back to center, lift the chest a little, left hand sweeps under the right armpit, drop the left shoulder down to the floor. Really wiggle those fingers away from you, stretching through the back line of the left shoulder. Nice work. Come back. Sitting up on the heels, you're going to bring your hands, clasp them behind you, open up through the chest. And stay here as you breathe out. Little counter stretch through the front line of the body. Just 3 big breaths here. And then releasing and making your way back to downward facing dog. Right leg to the sky as you breathe in. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge. Step forward, chair pose, exhale. So stay high in your chair, really lock the tailbone down, pull the biceps back, but without overextending through the spine. So as you pull the shoulders back, which is going to demand more space through the chest, you want to keep drawing the navel in towards the spine to keep the torso really neutral and strong. Take a breath in. You're going to fold forward in the same way we did at the back of the mat, keeping the arms stretched up, biceps by the ears, bend the knees, take your fingers to the floor. Inhale, half lift, downward facing dog, breath out. Left leg lifts, in breath, tiger curl, to crescent lunge, inhale, to chair pose, exhale. Lock the tailbone down, lift the chest, pull the arms back, pull the navel to spine. It's totally okay for this to be a high chair rather than a super low chair, which can make it really challenging to keep the spine long. You'll still get a nice little bit of fire, a bit of tapas or heat in the legs. Final breath in. Forward fold, keep the spine long. Arms are an extension of the spine until you get to the floor. Take a half lift. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Right leg to the sky, in breath. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge. Arms up really high, step forward, chair. Breath in. Forward fold through the flat back, arms reaching out all the way to the floor. Half lift in breath. Down dog. Left leg lifts, inhale. Tiger. Crescent. Chair, step forward. In breath. Fold through the flat back. Half lift. Down dog. Right leg lifts, in breath. Tiger. Crescent. I'm stepping up to crescent with my back knee bent. Gets the spine really strong and lean and straight. Step forward to chair. In breath. Forward fold through flat back. Half lift. Down dog. Left leg lifts. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge. Chair pose. In breath. Forward fold through your flat back. Half lift. Down dog. Stay here in your downward facing dog. Take a big breath in. And let all the breath go. Right leg to the sky, in breath. Tiger curl. Step through. We're going to come into a pyramid pose. You want to keep your feet like they're on train tracks. Feet are only about 1 meter apart. You're going to take a half lift. Keep your fingertips on the floor, or if you're lacking the range of motion through your hip and hammy, blocks underneath your hands might be super helpful here. Lengthen the spine. Pull the right hip back. The back body is really strong. You're going to take your right hand on the back of your sacrum, palm facing up. If you need to have a little bend in your right knee, then please go ahead and do that. This is more about what's happening in the back than what's happening in the hamstring. I know this is a super strong stretch. We're going to reach the left arm forward and touch the left pinky finger on the floor. The thumb is staying up towards the sky. Palm is facing the right foot. You're going to fold over that right leg. Allow your ear to meet your bicep. From here, as you breathe in, you're taking a lift all the way up through flat back with your bicep by your ear to come all the way up to standing. And then taking a forward fold back over that right leg, keeping the spine straight, the arm and extension of your spine. In breath, pull with the back body, squeeze the back of the body, press into the feet, come all the way to standing. Exhale, fold over that right leg. One more of those. Big breath in, squeeze the back of the body, power up, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Leave the left hand on the floor, take a half lift. And then take a twist. Exhale to the right. And one of the beautiful things about working with really focusing on the length in the spine, it gives you more space for your twists. And given the fact that twists are one of the most powerful pose categories for transformation, for alchemy, for assimilating, for digesting, for processing, we want to be able to achieve integrity in our twists by having integrity in the spine. On your next in-breath, right hand to the earth. Bend the front knee as you breathe out. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Left leg lifts in breath. Tiger curl. Step through for pyramid pose. You might need to have the foot on the toe on the right leg, which is at the back now, to give you some more space. And again, some blocks underneath your hands will be super helpful if you can't quite reach the floor with a straight spine. What I mean by that is if you're having to tuck your tail under and round the back of the body to reach the floor, then you would take something underneath your hands to elevate you and have length in the spine. Your left hand is coming onto your sacrum, palm facing the sky. Your right arm is reaching forward, palms facing the left foot. It's just the right pinky finger touching the floor, thumb is to the sky. Drop your head, bicep and ear meet. They do not leave each other. Next in-breath, all the way up through a flat back. Press into the earth, lift the torso to standing. And exhale, fold. Keep the bicep by the ear. In-breath, pull up. Back body is working to keep the spine long and straight. Exhale, fold. Pulling up, in-breath. Exhale, fold. Release the hands, take a half lift. Bend the front knee. Downward facing dog. High plank in breath. As you breathe out back to downward facing dog, silently chant the mantra Om. Inhale, fullness in breath to come to high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog, Om. Three more of those. High plank on the in-breath. Down dog on the out-breath. Take a child's pose, knees wide, arms reaching forward. Take your pinky fingers as wide as, if not wider than your mat. Some space for your shoulders. Drop your forehead to the floor for 5 breaths. Making your way, downward facing dog. Little shoulder stretch here. You're going to plug into the floor with your right hand. If you have any injuries or an unstable shoulder, please avoid this. Just stay in the downward facing dog. If you're super strong in the right shoulder, you're going to keep the right hand on the floor. You're going to lift the left hand up. It's going to reach back and take a hold of the outer edge of your right knee, calf, or ankle. So your right hand is plugged to the floor. Your left hand is reaching back for the right leg. Push into the right hand. Keep driving the hips back. Strengthen the right shoulder and a big juicy opening through the back of the left shoulder as you hook your hand to your leg and stretch and open the back of the shoulder. And then releasing, left hand to the floor, swapping hands, right arm reaches back, plug into the earth with the left hand, drop the right shoulder and really stretch out through the back of the right shoulder. Don't forget to breathe. Nice work, hands to the floor. Give yourself a big breath. Let all the breath go. Giant step to the top of the mat. Take a half lift breath in. Exhale, fold. We're going to work through a little flow in and out of chair pose here. Doing the same thing as we did in the pyramid pose. So your fingertips reach forward, thumbs are facing the sky, palms are facing each other. Drop your head, biceps kiss the ears and they don't leave one another. So we're taking a halfway lift, stretching the fingers out forward, flat back as you breathe in, and then forward fold as you breathe out. Half lift in breath. Exhale, fold. We're going to stay in the half lift breath in. Stay here as you breathe out. Stay here as you breathe in. Forward fold. If that's way too taxing on the body, just take your hands to your hips and focus on strengthening the back body. In breath, half lift. Exhale, stay here. In breath, hold. Exhale, stay. In breath, hold. Exhale, fold. Take your hands to the tops of your feet. Take a half lift breath in. Downward facing dog, breath out. High plank breath in. Om on the inhale, back to downward facing dog on the exhale, Inhale, high plank. Downward facing dog, exhale silently using the mantra Om. One more time. Full breath in, downward facing dog. Let all the breath go. Come to the top of your mat on no breath. Half breath. Half lift, in breath. Forward fold, out breath. And back to that same little flow. Reach the fingertips forward, palms facing one another, biceps, ears connected. In breath, half lift. Keep the knees bent. Keep lifting the sit bones and the tailbone up. Exhale, fold. In breath, lift. Exhale, stay. Inhale, hold. Forward fold. If it's too strong, take your hands to your hips. In breath, lift. Exhale, stay. In breath, hold. Exhale, stay. In breath. Forward fold. Nice work. Half lift, breath in. Downward facing dog, breath out. Big full breath in. Exhale, let it go. Right leg to the sky, in breath. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge. Stay here as you breathe out. Big breath in. Step forward, chair pose, breath out. Inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Half lift, breath in. Step the left foot back to crescent lunge as you breathe out. Sweep the fingers to the sky as you breathe in. And exhale into warrior two. Focus here. There's a lot of effort and intention in power in the legs, but I really want you to pay attention to the spine. So drive the tailbone down. Really feel that sense of the lower energy centers in the lower spine really anchoring down towards the earth. Get that strong foundation across the pelvis. And then as though I'm lifting my hands along the side of your body to your armpits, can you find more length? Crown of the head up super tall. And then sink. Let the shoulders melt. Have the effort in the back body pulling the shoulders back, anchoring you in with integrity. Take a breath in. Let the breath go. Hands to hips, straighten the front leg. Turn the toes to face the side of your mat. Edges of your feet parallel to the edges of your mat, and take a forward fold. Take your hands to the earth. Take a half lift. It should be a little bit easier to find length in your spine in your wide-legged fold, just because there's not as much pressure in the hamstrings. And then find a forward fold as you breathe out. Breath in, half lift. Come back to the top of the mat as you breathe out. Meet in downward facing dog. Big breath in. Full breath out. Left leg lifts, in breath. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge, drive up. Step forward as you breathe out, chair pose. Big breath in. Forward fold, breath out. Half lift, inhale. Step the right leg back again, back into your lunge as you breathe out. Crescent lunge, lift up. To warrior two, breath out. Integrity in the spine. So I don't mind if the legs are not as effortful, but just find as much space and depth and pressure through to the earth. Legs are obviously super fired up and active, but if they're a little bit higher, that's okay if you need that to find length in spine. Drop the tail down, pull the crown of the head up, squeeze the shoulders in the back of the body. Next breath in, hands to hips, straighten the front leg, turn the left toes in, big breath in, forward fold, exhale. Half lift, breath in, forward fold, breath out. So even here in your wide-legged fold, trying to find as much length in the spine as possible. If you're really tight in the lower back and the hamstrings, a bend in the knees, and then an intention to send the sit bones higher, really hinging through the hips, will allow some length in the spine. 3 more breaths. You'll take a half lift on the next breath in. Come back to the top of your mat as you breathe out. Wait for the in-breath. Downward facing dog on the out-breath. Big breath in. Full breath out. Right leg to the sky, in-breath. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge, inhale, back knees bent. Step forward, chair pose, exhale. Big breath in. Forward fold, keep the biceps by the ears. Hands to the floor, inhale. Step the left foot back for pyramid pose, exhale. Right hand to the back of the sacrum, left arm reaches forward, bicep and ear is connected. In breath, come all the way up. Exhale, come all the way down. 2 more of those. In breath, come all the way up. Exhale, down. 1 more time. Your thumb is leading the way. Your bicep is by the ear. Your spine is super straight. Hand to the earth. Take a little halfway lift. Both hands grounded. Bend the front knee. Step back. Downward facing dog. High plank breath in. Downward facing dog. Using the mantra Om as you exhale. Left leg in to the sky. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge. Inhale, back knees bent. Chair pose, step forward. Big breath in. Through your fold with a flat back, biceps by the ears, breath out. Half lift, inhale. Right leg steps back, pyramid pose, exhale. Left hand to the sacrum, right arm reaches forward, in-breath, lift up. Exhale, fold down. In-breath, lift up. Exhale, fold over. 1 more time. Bend the front knee on the out breath, down dog, spine long, high plank, in breath. Om on the exhale, back to down dog. Right leg lifts, in breath. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge. Warrior 2. Breath in. Stay for the breath out. Hands to hips, right leg turns in. Take a forward fold, exhale. Half lift, in breath, flat back. Exhale, fold. You have 5 breaths here. One of the beautiful things you can work towards when you're really working towards this opening through the hamstrings is the lifting of the tailbone and sit bones and this length in the spine. From the wide fold, if you're open enough through the hamstrings, so you can drop your head down towards the floor, and then you're in the perfect tripod position to take a headstand if you so wish. If you are, your hands are going to be back quite far in between your feet as your head comes forward. We're just here for one more breath. If you're in a headstand, come back. Take a half lift, breath in. Back to the top of your mat, breath out. Downward facing dog. High plank in breath. Om on the exhale, downward facing dog. Straight spine. High plank in breath. Om on the exhale, down dog. Left leg lifts, inhale. Tiger curl. Crescent lunge. Warrior two. Breath in. Breath out. Hands to hips, straighten the front leg. Turn those toes in, forward fold. Half lift, breath in. Fold forward, breath out. 5 breaths. If you're working towards headstand and having your hands in tripod feels a little unstable, you can take your hands and clasp them and drop the back of your head into the back of your hands. And then you have greater surface area with your forearms connected to the floor to take the headstand. You certainly can't take a headstand with a curved spine. Next breath in, half lift. Exhale, fold here again. We're just going to take one little twist in your wide-legged fold. Take a half lift. Plug your left hand underneath your face so the arm is straight, the hand directly underneath your face. Really send your tailbone and your sit bones back. Crown of head is forward. Breath in. And then right fingertips to the sky as you breathe out. Nice shoulder stretch here. Really pulling your right arm back. You might even like to take it beyond the shoulder to get a nice big juicy twist and stretch out through the shoulders. The in-breath will bring you back to the floor. Plug the right hand down underneath your face. Little half lift, lengthen out the spine. Important for your twists. And then twist to the left as you breathe out. In-breath brings you back. Come to the top of the mat as you breathe out. Step the knee back, the right leg back. Fall down onto your knees. Take your hands onto the top of your thighs. Close down your eyes. Integrity in spine. Crown of head, shoulders, hips, heels stacked. Letting go of all the effort. Noticing if there is a little more ease in your posture, or if the body is just so fatigued it's wanting to collapse. Nice work. Come down onto your belly. I'm going to come into Sphinx pose to begin with. So just taking your forearms to the floor, elbows underneath your shoulders, pull the chest through the shoulders, a little stretch into the back here. Please squeeze your bottom as a way to protect your lower back. Press into the floor with the top of the feet. And then slowly releasing down to the floor. Take your forehead to the back of your hands. Draw your heels towards your bottom and sweep your feet side to side. Then we're going to stretch into the back of the shoulders. So a very similar stretch to what we did in our child's pose. Just lifting your chest up to begin with. You're taking your right hand underneath the left armpit and dropping down onto it. And you really want to fold your chest over, keeping the left chest and left shoulder facing the floor and not up in the air. So we're dropping ourselves down. I've got my left hand stretched out onto the floor ahead of me as a way to really anchor the left shoulder down. It's almost like I'm trying to get my left armpit to kiss the right elbow crease. So come out of this, roll towards the right, pull the right arm out, and then we'll take it onto the other side. Left arm sweeps underneath the right armpit, keeping your shoulders, your chest equally resting over the left arm. Final breath here. Pressing in, rolling over to the left. Come up onto your hands and knees. We're going to just range through 5 cat-cows. So pulling through the chest, squeeze the shoulders back as you breathe in. And then mostly doing here for the beautiful cat stretch, just stretch into the back of the shoulders. Really drop the chin to the chest. Take a moment there to stretch out through the neck if you need to. Take any little extra movements that you might need to feel nice and nourished in that space. Breath in, looking up. Breath out, pressing into the earth. And then find yourself in an extended child's pose, knees wide, arms reaching out. Then coming up, rolling over onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. We're going to finish in a snail pose or a full plow pose if you can. So if you have a bolster, it might be helpful to grab it. You're going to draw your knees into your chest, lift your bottom up with your hands, and curl your knees over towards your forehead. If you can take your feet or your knees all the way over to the floor, go ahead and do that. This is really just to completely compress through and deeply stretch through the whole back line of the body. If you can take plow pose, you might be able to straighten out the knees, landing your toes on the floor overhead. Nice big stretch through your spine. If that's a little uncomfortable or inaccessible, you can bring a bolster underneath your hips and just hug your knees into your chest. And slowly coming out. If you're in full plow, please really make sure you engage your belly to bring your feet back down to the floor. Just rest with your feet down, your spine connected to the earth. If you're on a bolster, it's fine to keep your hips there for a moment. And you're going to roll over. We're all going to come up into a seat. Take your hips elevated. And I'm really hoping that your spine knows exactly where to go. Crown of head reaching up. Chin slightly tucked in so there's length through the back of the spine. A sense of openness and spaciousness through the chest because the shoulders are gently activating and pulling back at the back of the body. Navel gently drawn into spine. Sit bones grounded. Eyes gently closed. Take a deep breath in. Let all the breath go. Silently bringing back the mantra Om. Inhale, repeating the mantra the whole length of the in-breath. And taking your awareness all the way up to your crown at the top of the in-breath. And as you breathe out, silently using the mantra Om and bringing your awareness just into the third eye center. So moving your awareness very softly and subtly through this distance between the third eye center, Ajna Chakra, the space just between the eyebrows, slightly above and straight back into the midbrain. The in-breath, you carry your awareness up to the crown of the head. And the exhale, Om, brings the awareness back down into your intuition center, your wisdom center, your knowing center. In-breath, awareness draws up to the crown of the head, Om, the whole length of the inhale. And Om, the whole length of the exhale, dropping you back into your third eye center. You might find that when you introduce a mantra in time with the breath naturally lengthens. Just continuing to repeat Om on inhale, Om on exhale. moving between these two highest energy centers of our being body. Bringing awareness to an awakening, the Shakti, the power in these energy centers, our higher intuition, our wisdom, our knowing, our inner truth, our guiding light, and our access to exponential source, divinity, godlike power beyond the containment of the body, this connection to something much bigger, more grand than ourselves. Three more breaths carrying this mantra. And give yourself a big full breath in as you let the mantra go. Let all the breath escape. Take a final moment just to check in with the integrity of your spine. Bring your hands to your heart as you take final conscious breath in and a final conscious breath out. Bow your head to your heart. Om Shanti and Namaste.